Hello, all, Xyceres here. So we're starting something a little bit different here today. I'm going to be going over my own bases. I'm just looking over a little bit of builder content. Also, because I think it'd be nice for people to see the progression of someone, especially someone like myself who was not particularly good at building. Honestly, even now, I've been getting better, but as I've got selected here, I've got Kennesaw, which is my first base. It was made during the open beta, so it carried across and it's stuck with this 176 due to a bug. There's not actually any kills in the map once we load into it. You'll notice that this was a small map and it is a normal difficulty. I kept it on normal difficulty because I figured that would be the best spot to learn initially. It has an absolute ton of raid attempts, but that was because it was a day one champion base. It was actually champion about 5 minutes after the game went live, and there wasn't a lot of champion bases, so any base that was champion at that early would get a disproportionately high number of raid attempts. 2.2 kill ratio, it's not terrible for a normal difficulty base, and the accolades to raids is about 0.85-ish accolades to raids if you add these all up, which is not great. Honestly, I normally aim for about 1, but there was an issue earlier on where people weren't giving accolades when they thought they were because of how the menu worked just in general, particularly on consoles. But yeah, let's get started with this tour. We're going to start with a run of the base, and then I will explain my thought processes and whatnot and trap placements as we go through it. Okay, so now that you've seen the speedrun route that someone used on my base, although that was my version of it, it's a little bit faster, let's actually go over the base. Mastered, so we got the full view here. So the plot here, you'll notice, there's not a lot of bedrock above the ground, it's all down. So this is just like a giant hole. I've put a big cube over the stuff here. It wasn't there initially. I kind of just put you can't see it from the preview, so I figured there was no harm in just putting blocks over it just to hide the general shape of it. Though it's linear, so it's not really strictly necessary, but sometimes you can like work out trap placements and whatnot if you really eyeing carefully where like protrusions and whatnot are from the outside. And I just wanted to avoid that. I don't actually think that's necessary. It's a pain to do as a raider, and it's just not worth the effort most of the time. So, I just, I wouldn't suggest doing that if you are building your own base. As for the actual design here, I actually started with something similar to this, using the church blocks and these lights. That was always in the base, and pointing the windows of the church block out so that it looks like they're actually windows of a church, and using the white stone to complement the greyish stone of the church block. That was my plan all along. Ended up, I was like aiming for like a church that had like an underground crypt was the idea, and as we went in, you would, you know, discover all the traps and stuff on the crypt itself. So that's what I was going for. Obviously, this here was added post-launch, but before this was mastered, because the Egyptian pack did not get added to the game until launch. It was not available in the open beta. Anyway, Yeah, so we come in here. This has a surprising number of kills, this setup here. I don't know why. It is visible from, like, back here, you can kind of see the top and bottom of these traps. They are some of the most obvious traps ever. And people always seem to, like, kill this one and stand under this one. Some people go up and get killed by that one instead. It's real dumb. It's real dumb how effective this was. So as we come down, yeah, got some more of this Egyptian iconography. We've got some like whitish colours to colour the bedrock so that it doesn't look out of place. And because like it's not posing as a hollow cube. I didn't even have hollow cubes when I made this base, so there's no reason to have it stick out. This is also surprisingly effective. It's just like its second wave, because coming down it's very obvious, coming up not so much. A lot of people get past it just by going over the corner here. It's not really a big deal, but this is a normal difficulty base. Not everyone's super familiar with the game. It sketches a few people out. There's another one that's in a similar spot. We're getting close to the tomb at the moment, and you can see the outline of a guard as well. The tomb here is... I need to break that so that it stops making noise. Let's just... If you didn't know, if you break your tombs while testing, they stay broken when you're in the building things, so they stop making the noise. Yeah, so we have a bomb ejector here and a bolt trap down the other end of the corridor here. So the tomb here is supposed to be making a lot of noise, so you're very likely to look this direction to see what the noise is. Even if you know what it is and know that it's not dangerous, you'll still end up looking most of the time this way. And that means that you're seeing this. Generally speaking, that'll start activating. You'll hear it. It's very obvious with the tomb here as well. That's quite a loud noise. You've really got two options. You can go up here and kill this, or shoot it, etc. And then this thing here might kill you without you noticing, or you can back up. This has chaos bombs on it, so if you back up, a bomb will bounce off this wall and it will come to about here normally. Not always, because bombs have some RNG. But it means it kills someone that backs up to about here. But if they back up to about here, they'll be fine. It's pretty easy to catch cautious players off guard. They're just, like, they have to back up quite far. And if they don't do that, they die. And if they stay here, the bombs, even if they destroy the bomb trap, the bolts normally catch them in the back. That bolt trap realistically should have been made double down, but I didn't have that mod at the time. Because you will step out here, trigger it, and it would be nice to have a great as you come around this the second time. But this here destroys this. Sometimes it'll destroy things back here. I would normally avoid that nowadays because I know that the destruction of tombs by traps does not give experience to the raider, and some raiders don't like that, even if the loot still drops. But I didn't know that at the time. I would have never thought that was the case because it sounds so dumb to me. But yeah, so this setup I wouldn't set up nowadays, but it was what I had at the time. Just around the corner here, got another bolt trap. So once you get to here, you are in. This is the start of the tomb area, right? So these are where you've got like some zombies or grave keepers. That's what these enforcers are representing. They're supposed to be all trapped up. So just a bunch of impalers up here. That's just to stop you from running up there and grabbing ammo for the most part. And put you under a lot of threat, because you're under threats from... If you ran it straight in, you could be under threat from this, but most likely you're under threat from this, the 4 enforcers, and then if you jump up to try and deal with the enforcers easier, because it'll give you better line of sights, and it'll give you better lines of sight on them rather than trying to shoot them from below. You end up having to deal with all these impalers. It's a nice little room. Most of my kills are in this room. It's relatively easy to clear out if you know what's going on. You can hit most of these on the feet or just like they'll move forward a little bit when they're aggroed, so you can just like jump and slash at them. Nothing too scary here, and you'll notice that all the bedrock, once again, is all painted white, so that it blends in with the background. So that's what I was intending. And it's not like I even had holo cubes to try and scare people into thinking it was those. The impaler here, this is the same as the one back here. It's second wave, so you only see it when you're coming up. Catches a decent number of people, but once again, this corner here, you can get over this so easily. And that's not even counting the fact that impalers can be just run across in general. Just got a bot shop down the hallway. So now we're out of the crypt. We're heading towards the actual altar of the temple here, which is what I pictured the gem mat as. So yeah, we just got a couple corridors that need to exist because what ended up happening, the entrance is like right through this block. This is not that far from the top of the hole that it's built into. So I built down to the bedrock, and in order to have at least a half-decent halving path, because there's no way I would have been able to put traps if I'd just gone like, you know, on a diagonal here and gone like 2 more blocks down. That would have, I would have had no traps, nothing dangerous, no kills would ever occur. I would have gotten no resources for this map, and it wouldn't have really been that fun for people. So yeah, I built this. I put bolt trap here just so when the person turns the corner, they can potentially get shot by it. Most of the time, you just shoot it. If you don't shoot it, you back up a little bit if you've cleared out that room. If you're speed running, you can just run through. Technically, it's not a long enough corridor. Bit of a shame, but it's just there. Make up some numbers, really. These two are both second wave. The intention is that you have to deal with them on the way back, but they're very obvious, unfortunately. I was hoping that this one would distract the person from this one, so they would go up here and slash at this or something, and then they'll get shot by this, but it just never really pays off. This thing here, similarly, this thing's a little bit more effective, but it's awkward because of how it triggers. If I didn't have this, I quite liked this triangular roof here, which I didn't really want to get rid of, though I probably should have, because it would have forced you to go under this. But turn that into just like a solid block. But I kind of like just having a little open room here, and I've tried a few traps in here. Nothing really worked. This bomb trap, second wave bomb trap, like if you wait in here, it's the gem mat obviously, if you wait in here after getting the gem mat and then come down here and happen to trigger it, these bombs bounce all over this room. The roofs, the angles of the roof, and the just like relatively smallness of this room, there's bombs everywhere. Even like sometimes you even get killed if you like grapple up to the roof here. It's pretty good. It's way too close to the gem mat for a second wave trap. Now the other thing I've got, the last few things that we've got here is you come up here, you'll see there's got this bolt trap, this has got Hunter on it. Hunter was put on this, I unlocked it after someone did something similar to what I showed just before, where they just ran through my base in for them it was 45 seconds. I don't know how long that clip is off the top of my head. But they did something similar where they walked in here and immediately went to the side. They went to about here, and I was like, oh, if that had Hunter, that would have killed them, because they just ran in, didn't see that at all. So I unlocked Hunter, put it on there. Though I do like this just in general. Anytime there's like stairway up with bolt trap pointed at the gen mat, a lot of people get tunnel vision, go straight for the gen mat, and they just don't notice this thing. As for the room here, this was just a white room. Initially, I liked it being a little bit wider because it made it look more like this is the actual, like this is the altar as I intended. You'll notice that I've actually put like a yellow roof here instead of a white as everywhere else has. So that's just to make this stand out a little bit more, and obviously these colours on the wall, these decals on the wall are not used anywhere else in the base, which is helping separate this from everywhere else. Yeah, so the person grabs this, and then on the way out, they're only going to get hit by, you know, the 3 second wave traps here, which they're way too close. This one here is probably far enough away that it can trigger, but impalers are so easy to run past that sometimes people don't even notice it and they just walk past over it and just survive. Anyway, so we're going through a run through of Kennesaw. This was the first of my 2 open beta bases, so next time we'll be going over Basalt. Obviously, this is on social at the moment. I'll update the description of the video if that ever changes, but if you want to run it, you're welcome to, but I don't think it's a particularly exciting base at all.